Hello, today we're going to talk about Chapter 2, Lesson 1 in your book. That will be pages 75 to 80. So let's get started. So our first objective in this lesson is to translate sentences into equations. All right? And that is there are a few steps to doing that. The first thing we want to do is identify the unknown and assign a variable to it, whether that's x, y, or t for time. We're going to assign a variable. I usually just choose the letter x. Step 2, we're going to identify where we need to put our equal sign. All right, so we're going to be given math sentences, and we're going to be looking for in that sentence or sentences the word is as much as, is the same as, or is identical to. So anything that would make you think of an equal sign. And then the last step, we're going to write our equation. All right, so let's take a look at one of them. So translate sentences into equations. Here is our sentence. 7 times a number squared is, so that's important. So this is one side of the equation, and this is the other side, is 5 times the difference of k and m. All right, so a couple things stick out to me. I want you to think of order of operations when you're trying to figure out how to write your math sentence. So I know that I have 7 times a number squared. A number squared would kind of be its own thing, because squared is going to happen before multiplication. All right, and then I'm going to take that number squared and multiply it by 7. On the other side of the equation, 5 times the difference of k and m. The way it's written, the difference of k and m, this is going to happen in parentheses. I'm going to find this difference, and then I'm going to multiply it by 5. So I have k minus m, I think I'm going to put in parentheses, and then I'm going to multiply that number by 5. So there's our equal sign. I'm then going to deal with this n squared part and this times 7 part. Okay. I then have this k and m, the difference of, and I'm going to multiply that by 5. And then all I got to do is clean that up into one simple equation, and there it is. 7n squared equals 5 times k minus m. All right. I'd like you guys to try this one. So pause it, and you're going to be bringing this to class tomorrow. So a number b divided by 3 is 6 less than c. So try that one, and we'll move on. Example 2, we're using a 4-step problem-solving plan. Okay, here's our problem. Refer to the information on the left. In how many days will 261,000 flights have occurred in the United States? Well, we're looking through here. Now there are more than 87,000 flights each day in the U.S. Okay, so what do we know? Step 1 of the 4-step problem, understand. Okay, we know that there are 87,000 flights each day in the U.S. We need to find how many days it will take to get to 261,000. And I'm thinking in my head that this is a multiplication problem. Okay. Plan. I'm going to define my variable here. I'm going to say let x equal the number of days. You could use d for days. It really doesn't matter. Okay. And that looks like this. So I know that 87,000 times a certain number of days will give me a total number of flights. I want that total to be 261,000. Now I'm going to solve. All right, and in this problem, it's 87,000 times x. To get x by itself, I need to divide both sides by 87,000. This will cancel out. 87,000 divided by 87,000 is 1. And when I divide these two numbers, I get 3. It'll take 3 days for the 261,000 flights to occur in the United States. And then we're going to check our work. So we're going to take our 3. We're going to substitute it back into our problem. It looks like that. And when I do multiply these two numbers together, I get 261,000. So it did work out. I'd like you to try this one, please. So a jelly bean manufacturer produces 1,250,000 jelly beans per hour. That's a lot of jelly beans. How many hours does it take to produce 10 million jelly beans? So I want you to try this one. So pause it, and you'll turn this in. So far we have 2 try me's. All right, try ones, I should say. And that's what you're going to be turning in. Let's move on to the next problem. Writing a formula. So a formula is going to have 2 variables. And so we kind of want to find those variables. We still want to look for the equals or is. All right, so this one you probably already know, but let's just take a look at it. We know that the area of a triangle, we're going to use that as a variable. Equals, there's my equal sign, that's important. The product means multiplication. The product of half, the base, and the height. So I'm going to multiply these three pieces together. Okay, half, the base, and the height. So 1/2 times base times height. And I can't make it much simpler. We write our formula. We have our area. We have our equals. These three items are being multiplied, half, base, and height. And we're going to skip example 4, and we're going to go right to example 5. I want you to try this one first. Sorry about that. Try this one first. So now we have 3 try ones. And now example 5, writing a problem. So they're going to give us some information, and we have to come up with a story. So we're going to let time equal the time that Maxine drove in each turn. T plus 4 is the time that Tia drove in each turn. And their total trip is this equation here. So when I see this equation, to me, this looks like Maxine drove twice for a certain amount of time. Okay, Tia only drove 1 time, and their total time driven was 28, probably hours, I'm going to guess. I doubt you'd split up 28 minutes. So let's come up with a story. Here's what I came up with. Maxine and Tia went on a trip, and they took turns driving. During her trip, Tia drove 4 more hours than Maxine. That takes care of this piece. Maxine took 2 turns, and Tia took 1 turn. That's why I have a coefficient of 2 on this T and a coefficient of 1 for the T plus 4. So she drove twice, she drove once. Together, they drove for 28 hours. That takes care of the equals 28. And you're making a problem, so you want to ask a question. How many hours did Maxine drive? You want your question to be based on the lone variable, the T equals, okay, or the X equals, whatever you're choosing. All right, because we can find T, and if we need to, we could find the T plus 4 as well. We could find the time that Tia drove. All right, so here's one for you to try. This will be the last one you'll have to do to turn in tomorrow. If I said that the cost of fries equals F, and then F plus $1.50 or 1.5 equals the cost of a burger, and then the last piece of the equation, 4 times F plus $1.50, so this is the cost of that burger, minus F equals $8.25. So I want you to write a story problem that would go along with the information I've given you here. So you're going to turn in those try me problems, try one problems I should say, 4 of them, and that's what we'll be going over tomorrow when you walk in the class. If you like what you see, please click subscribe, and any comments would be appreciated. See you guys next time.